on YouTube, and welcome to our Valentine edition of the Sports Week in Review. As you can see, we celebrated Valentine's Day here at my house. Wife got me this wonderful Cleveland Browns Snuggie. She got herself a brand new TV. I don't know who the winner there is, but maybe leave some comments and let me know. Alright, busy week in sports. Let's start since the last time we let you off, and let's talk about the Super Bowl. Green Bay adds another title, and Pittsburgh lets one slip out of their hands. All in all, I think it was a pretty uneventful Super Bowl. I mean, the score was close and stuff, but except for a few drives, it was kind of boring. I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing I'm going to be taking away from this Super Bowl is, besides the overhyping of Aaron Rodgers, even though he did win a Super Bowl, but let's face it, so did Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson, is probably the arguing couples, the complaining about the Super Bowl party we had. That's about the memories I'm going to take from the Super Bowl. Everybody's quick to, hype up Aaron Rodgers and write off Brett Favre in the situation. But, I beg to differ on that. It's a different day and age. I think the Steelers let it slip away. I think the Steelers played too conservatively. As I talked about in the preview show, I felt that they should have let Roethlisberger, be the two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback and let him just fling the ball around. They played a little conservative, tried to rely on their defense a little too much, and Aaron Rodgers, he is a good quarterback. He's gonna get his pick the defense apart occasionally, and he did it just enough to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be hard to compare. I know everybody's real quick to, jump on the bandwagon, but, I think during the Brett Favre era, he had a few less weapons. I don't think his wide receiver core was as deep as Aaron Rodgers is. And I also think, the NFC was a lot more dominant in that era. You had the 49ers that were dominant, you had the Cowboys and their, the triplets in their dominant era. I mean, right now, we'll see what happens because, Green Bay could definitely be the team of the NFC. They're young at all the skill positions. They're young at quarterback, young at receiver, young at offensive line. They're young at linebacker, young at quarterback. So, I mean, they're even young in defensive front. So, I mean, basically that could be the team to be reckoned with if, they can keep up that kind of play. But, I really feel the Steelers let one go. So congratulations, Green Bay. We got it wrong here, Fandemonia. Mike Tomlin, next time just let your quarterback sling the ball, man. Just let it ride out. Moving along, basically number one Ohio State lost. And basically just tonight, the newly crowned number one Kansas, they lost. Basically, college basketball season's heating up and is beginning to be the best time of year. We're getting towards conference, tournament action, getting towards that March Madness, and, it's just kind of ironic that number one Ohio State lost at Wisconsin, just like the football team did this year. But as you know, in the NCAAs, unlike, say, maybe the NBA, it's all about guard play, and, that's what's going to get you. Sullinger, for Ohio State, great talent, but it's gonna come down to the guards. That's why everybody's looking at Texas as a favorite because they got some great guard play. So can't wait to see this March Madness. Tiger Woods, everybody, he put together 3 good rounds of golf this week, but he's not in the news for basically playing a decent round of golf, even though he blew it in a final round. He's in the news because of spitting. Something that's blown out of proportion. Ain't going to really talk about that. It's ridiculous. Moving along, another big sporting news tonight dropped, and it might not matter to some of y'all, but, The Rock came back into wrestling tonight. don't know. We haven't really touched on wrestling, professional wrestling on this show yet. Probably because I haven't really paid that much attention to professional wrestling. Used to be a huge ECW fan. Used to be a WWE fan. Back in the early '90s when I was in high school. Me and a buddy of mine that no longer really conversate anymore. We used to go to all the shows. You know what I'm saying? It was an experience. It was, even if you weren't a wrestling fan, it was something you should have went to just for the experience. You know what I'm saying? But it basically, The Rock coming back tonight. We don't know. He says he's back. Don't know how long for, but it brought that vibe back, like when I was back in high school in the '90s watching them. You know what I'm saying? The vibe, the electricity, and the thing. Basically, wrestling's gone more for the women. My opinion, women and kids. The John Cena, the no wrestling, but cute smile is what's overtaking the world. So let's see if it can resurrect. I mean, it's just it's kind of sad sometimes when you watch professional wrestling and you see some of this good talent. It's like when TNA first came out, and TNA, like I was watching TNA and I'm like, wow, it was almost to me kind of like what ECW could have been if they had Kurt Angle. Because once TNA had Kurt Angle, all the talent started coming. They started putting it together, and now it's a drawn out soap opera. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm one of the few people that watch wrestling for the athletic competition. The not for the drama. And basically, it's all drama in wrestling now. So we'll see what happens with The Rock. WrestleMania coming up, and lastly, what I'd like to talk about here, we're going to talk about MMA. Basically, Anderson Silva won again. Basically dominating that weight class, making it look like there's nobody in that weight class. The big question is, will GSP move up, or will Anderson Silva continue to compete in 205? But after he watched that undercard, he may not want to compete at 205 because, for one, that's one of the most competitive weight classes there are. But then you got, Johns Bones Jones, who, if you watch the preview, you heard it here, that was going to be the fight of the night and the man to watch. You know what I'm saying? He's looking like a monster, and he's only like 23, 24 years old, looking like he could dominate for a long time, folks. So, we'll see. But I think more or less the topic of MMA that I'd like to discuss is something I've been talking about for a long time. They need to come out with a 225-pound weight class in MMA. They keep coming out with all these lighter weight classes, but, the 225 is, I think, long overdue. I mean, that's a big jump from 205 to 265. Huge jump. Huge gap in weight class. And as we seen last weekend, we seen the possible end of a legend. As great as he was, we seen Fedor Emelianenko go down to Bigfoot Antonio Silva, and it was more or less like Fedor finally couldn't overtake that size like he did against Hungman Choi. And it's not only just because Fedor lost. It's like, for years, like the Randy Couture's of the world, you got Arlovsky, who's probably at the end of his career after his 4th straight knockout. You got plenty of guys, even like, say, the future of the heavyweight class right now, Cain Velasquez. I mean, he could jump back and forth between weight classes. You know what I'm saying? I think 225 would be a lot more exciting weight class. It would also help out the 205. Maybe even disperse some of that talent, as 205 is such a clogged up weight class. And it's kind of the end of an era. You've seen Arlovsky took his 4th straight knockout. He's probably done. Fedor. It's sad to see, because this game is so, now everybody is so well-rounded that the weight matters. You know what I'm saying? The weight does matter, and Fedor just couldn't overtake that weight. And it's like, and the sad thing about it is, with the way now the MMA is so popular, a lot of these great fighters, like the Fedors, the Vanderlei Silvas of the world, the Sakurabas, You know, all these guys that fought in Pride and fought over in Japan, and even like the, say, Boss Rutens of the world that fought in Pancreas and Pride in Japan, you know, Frank Shamrocks of the world. People don't really realize how great they were. Now they're seeing them at the twilight of their career, where basically, you know, if you're an MMA fan and you're just catching on now, go look up some old Fedors. Go look up the Fedor fight against Kevel Randleman. That's a fight you need to watch, where Fedor got dumped on his head, came back, beat Randleman. You know what I'm saying? Go watch the old Frank Shamrocks against Tito Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? Go watch some of these. I mean, basically anything Vanderlei Silva. Go watch the first two Vanderlei Silva versus Quentin Rampage Jackson fights. Especially if you only know the Quentin Rampage Jackson Vanderlei 3 in the UFC, you need to go watch the first two fights. You know, basically, I just, you know, a lot of you that are new MMA guys, new MMA fans, you need to go back and watch the old fights. The Crow Cops of the world. You know what I'm saying? You need to pay attention to stuff in Japan, because, you know, tons of great fighters out there. But MMA, honestly, you need to think of a 225 weight pound or 225 weight class. I'm telling you, it'd be exciting. You know what I'm saying? And somebody, a legend like Fedor, would be able to keep his legend, because now, since MMA is such a well-rounded sport, you know, these guys can't overtake this size. That's probably why GSP is so hesitant to go up to 185 to fight, you know, Silva. So, basically, that's going to wrap it up, folks. Once again, Phantom Money Ltd. Hit us up, phantommoneyltd@att.net. On Twitter, twitter.com/phantommoneyltd. Facebook, search us Phantom Money Ltd. Hit that little like button. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you watching the show. Big ups to all you now. We're now up to 195 fans. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. 195 friends, I should say. Appreciate all your support, folks. You know what I'm saying? We want to hear from you. Leave us some comments and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And once again, leave a comment. Who got the better end of the deal? The nice brand new HD TV for the wife, or the Cleveland Browns Snuggie? All I can say is, you know, at least she was thoughtful, because, you know, if they're going to a Browns game, it's cold, maybe I can stay warm, and this thing folds up to a pillow so I can take a nap while I'm sitting there watching them lose in the dead cold. Alright, y'all. Hit me up. Have a good one.